So United States, as a tech giant, we are just bringing out problems that the countries that have faced, like many data which is from different countries. But what are the solutions that we are trying to provide as a tech giant in the world? Are there any?
So solutions, as I said, the governments need to be vigilant. Every government should create, as US, every government should create an individual cybersecurity task force, which I think in US has done, India has, and they should check for all these threats on an external and internal domain. They should check the networks. They should create a cybersecurity firewall around their country, like China very well knows, and so that. See, these are some steps, because we are open democracies. We cannot hide our, we cannot censor data, or we cannot block all incoming data from other countries. So we need to create some sort of defense cybersecurity team to prevent all of these things.
You precisely mentioned what US has been doing and it has been doing efficiently, but in your own speech you said how you were a victim of other countries as well. Then why should other countries follow you?
So, as you know, cybersecurity threats are always evolving. We cannot be 100% safe against it. Our private companies, our government has collaborated with the Microsoft officials, and we have again secured their servers. Say, on a government level also, we are always trying to innovate new cybersecurity defense mechanisms, and we request and urge other governments also to do the same.
Any follow-up?
Any further communication? Only one follow-up. Now, you have Shana, your question.
First of all, the delegate of China would like to ask the delegate of USA what is their source. Secondly, delegate of USA says that other countries should follow USA. USA being such an open democracy, many of us, all of other countries might have heard about 9/11. For a country which has several federal organizations who already knew about 9/11 or a terrorist attack being carried out on their country homeland, CIA, for example, already had knowledge of it, and the United States of government has released the files online. You can go ahead and check that. So why should the other countries follow USA's example when USA can't even prevent a terrorist attack on their state? And the source. Thank you.
Okay, so the Microsoft attack on the Microsoft data server and direct attack by China state-sponsored hacker groups on US government institutions is well documented. There are many articles.
Which source?
I can provide you any source. I'll give you.
No crosstalk. And second, you can answer. I'm trying to have no crosstalk.
I can provide the link via chat. And
yes, that's all right. Or you can also put it on the group. Either way.
Okay. And I don't know how 9/11 is related to cybersecurity, but we were after that. We had no idea of. Obviously, if we had known of that, we would try our best to prevent it. But however, after the 9/11 incident, you know how many steps were taken to increase security at airports and then airplane checking and also, and that were implemented by other countries as well.
Thank you, Delegate. Delegate, you can have a question.
I want to ask the delegate of US, how can he point fingers at different countries when he himself is involved in politics of various countries and spoofing of data of various countries?
So I would like a source for this.
Alright, that's it.
Thank you.
Next speaker, we have the delegate of Japan. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
Good morning, everyone present. So, we would like to first start off with what has Japan been doing to give or solve the problems related to cybersecurity. So, in 2015, Japan adopted a national cybersecurity strategy that includes measures to protect critical infrastructure, enhance international cooperation, and promote awareness and education. In 2018, Japan passed a cybersecurity law that requires companies to report any cybersecurity incidents to the government and provide guidelines for securing critical infrastructure. Japan has established a cyber defense unit called Cyber Defense Group, which is responsible for monitoring and defending the country's networks and systems from cyber attacks. Moving on, Japan has encouraged public and private partnerships to improve cybersecurity overall the country. For example, the government has worked with private sector to establish cybersecurity center in Tokyo to share threat intelligence and promote best practices. We would also like to introduce that the developed nations such as China, UK, US, everyone, they have a very good standard of cybersecurity or what do you say, technology available to them. but still China ranks second in the technology which it has to promote cybersecurity threats, but it is the number one victim to cybersecurity threats in the world, overall the world, cybersecurity attacks in the world. Moving on, I would like to raise a point ki why is China is trying to China is trying to prevent cybersecurity threats in its country, but why is it going on and attacking or establishing other cybersecurity cells in other countries at the same time?
Thank you for your speech. Delegate of UK, you have the floor for 9 minutes.
Online fraud is expected to continue rising dramatically as the prediction of cashless society draws closer. According to a research from a credit reference agency, TransUnion, 1 in 4 people have been targeted by cyber criminals during the lockdown in the UK. Phishing attacks are on the rise and one of the most common scams. Fraudsters impersonate banks and send emails prompting recipients to enter passwords or other authorization details into fraudulent websites that resemble bank portals. This information falls directly into bad actors' hands and gives free rein over victims' accounts. The International Finance IFF trade body has called for greater data sharing between financial institutions and law enforcement, both on domestic and international level. Banks in the UK have already been asked to share the cybercrime experience with regulators, allowing greater information flow across the sector in response to new attacks. We can expect further coordination between law enforcement and private sector in the coming months, as well as greater international cooperation in tackling multi-jurisdiction fraud. We anticipate an accelerated digital-first approach be taken to combat fraud and achieve compliance for the potential of a cashless society. Thank you.
Order. Thank you, Delegate. You have 10 seconds remaining. How do I?
The next speaker we have Italy. The delegate of Italy, you may have the floor for 90 seconds.
Good morning to the Honorable Chair and distinguished delegates. Cybersecurity refers to every aspect of protecting an organization and its employees and assets against cyber threats. As cyber attacks become more common and sophisticated, a variety of cybersecurity solutions are required to mitigate corporate cyber risk. Italy has implemented many measures to counter these. Italy has implemented strong data encryption and authentication protocols to safeguard sensitive financial information. This means that not only authorized personnel can access it, only the authorized personnel can access the data, reducing the risk of fraud. We have also adopted a multi-layered approach to security, which uses the use of firewalls, intrusion detection systems, and antivirus software. But cybersecurity is not just about technology; it's also about awareness. So we encourage our fellow countries to ask their citizens to stay vigilant and exercise caution when sharing their personal information, especially online. It's essential to educate everybody on the latest phishing and social engineering tactics that cyber criminals use to steal information.
Alright, thank you, Delegate. We move on to the next speaker, which is Delegate of South Africa.
You have the floor for 90 seconds.
Businesses should use cybersecurity measures to keep their business data, their cash flow, and customers safe online. These measures should aim to prevent risks from various sources, including internet-drone attacks, example malware and spyware, user-generated weaknesses, inert system or software flaws and vulnerabilities, subvert system or software features.
Recently in 2012, South Africa announced NCPF, National Cybersecurity Policy Framework, in order to instill the cybersecurity and its importance in the population, which was based on these cybercrime prevention measures, using strong passwords. For example, using different types of passwords and tougher passwords in order to keep the data in the data in your comms or in any device safe. Securing your computers by activating your firewalls, using antivirus malware software and block spyware attacks. being social media savvy and like making your social networking profiles, for example, or Twitter or any other transactional profile safe, and securing your mobile devices, protecting the data, securing the wireless networks, protecting the e-identities, and avoid being scammed, and using by using the more trusted resources. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Okay, so the next speaker we have Austria. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
Some cybersecurity measures that can be taken to curb financial crime in general are access control. Access control such as password, multi-factor authentication and role-based access can help prevent unauthorized access to sensitive data and systems. Implementing strong access controls can reduce the risk to insider threats and external attacks. Network segmentation. Network segmentation involves dividing the network into smaller, isolated segments to limit the spread of cyber attack. Segmentation network can help to prevent cyber criminals from accessing sensitive data and systems. Security awareness training. Providing the security awareness training to employees can help to prevent the phishing attack and social engineering attacks. Educating employees on cyber security is one of the best practices one can follow to reduce the risk of human error and prevent financial crime. Few of the measures taken by the Austrian government are anti-money laundering regulation. Austria has established AML regulations that require financial institutions to conduct thorough customer due diligence and monitor transactions to detect any suspicious activity. Austria has also implemented cybersecurity training. It provides cybersecurity training to law enforcement officials and financial institution employees to help them recognize and respond to cyber threats. FIU, Financial Intelligence Unit. Austria has established an FIU that collects and analyzes suspicious transaction reports and shares the information with law enforcement agencies. Thank you.
Are there any more speakers who want to speak in this moderated caucus? Okay. Please raise your placards properly. India. Okay. We just have India.
Yes, take for one more speaker. All right.
India, you have the floor for 90 seconds.
So in India, the field of cybersecurity and system security has been exponentially increased more at a rate which is more than exponential. Previously, we didn't have very strong systems, but now we have ample of competent professionals who can do their job. And an example of cybersecurity theft in India done by China was stealing our users' data from a mobile game called BGM, which was made in South Korea, but in the game, the privacy policy and the agreement had stated that the game will abide by the rules provided by the Indian government, in which there was nowhere mentioned that they can sell our data to any other country, especially China. So China, the game BGMI was banned in India due to data integration, which means stealing of data. So we would like to ask China to justify why they have done this. And another case was when they recently tried to hack our electrical systems, and they failed doing that. So I would like to have a justification from China.
Just 15 seconds remaining. How do you like to use
I
your
would like
time?
to yield my time to China.
Okay, no yield to another delegate in our moderate caucus. You can either use
POI.
Okay, I will have POIs.
You like POIs? We'll take 2 POIs on that speech. Delegates wishing to ask, please raise your placard. Fine, we'll take 3.
Okay. Italy, followed by China, followed by the delegate of France.
So the delegate of India says that they have taken a lot of cybersecurity measures to counter them. So I'd like to ask them, there are many reports of bases in Kolkata as well as Haryana where people have set up fake companies and institutions to fish people from other countries like USA and UK. So what are your plans to prevent them, because you haven't done anything till now?
My answer to that would be
there has been a total of nearly 400,000 of such cases, out of which only 10% were in India. So it is not just India; it is about almost all nations. I mean, a lot of nations, and we are taking as many measures as we can to reduce it. And you wouldn't have heard of any such case in 2023. I'm pretty sure that it would decrease at a very fast rate, and it will happen very soon. Or it will deteriorate very soon.
But there's, you see that there haven't been any cases in 2023. How do you know that? And the police haven't. We have a report.
हाँ.
Alright, delegates, do we have an extension motion for the unmoderated caucus?
Yes.
For 5 minutes.
5.
Any oppositions to that? Alright, we see an opposition, so we are going to vote on an extension motion. All those in favor, please raise your placards. In favor of extension of 5 minutes. All those against? Alright, the motion passes. We are an extension for 5 minutes. Also, the simple majority is still at 6, and you need two memorandums to be signatories for your draft resolution. Alright, 1/5 of the majority, which is the total quorum, which is 10.
Maximum co-authors is on
2.
2 co-authors.
Parliamentary inquiry point of minimum 2 or only 2 for signatories?
Minimum 2. You can have 1/5. 1/5 is the minimum.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions before we enter into the unmoderated caucus? Chalo, bolo bhai.
Alright, are there any motions on the floor? Japan?
Delegate of Japan would like to end unmoderated caucus and enter a moderated caucus for 15 minutes with each speaker time 90 seconds on the topic of tackling underground banks all over the world.
Will POI?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other motions? Seeing none, we shall begin with the motion. Delegates in favor of this motion, please raise their placards. 8, 9. All those who are against the motion? Okay, seeing this, the motion has been passed. Japan, would you like to speak
Yes.
first or reserve your right? Okay. You may begin. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
Good morning. As compliance professionals, we are all well aware of the requirements for any firm in scope of money laundering, terrorist financing and transfer of funds, Regulation 2017, and these obligations are growing. Underground banking refers to financial transactions that are conducted outside of the regulated banking system, often in an illegal or informal manner. The setting of debts by trusted intermediaries is known as hawala in Arabic or South Arabian Asian countries and is mentioned under Islamic hadith. While superficially unfamiliar to Western eyes, the exchange and settlement of debt in facilitation of trade was in many ways the blueprint of modern banking. In China, underground banking is a significant issue, with estimates suggesting the hundreds of billions of dollars flow through these channels each year. There are several reasons why underground banking is prevalent in China. One of the main factors is the country's strict capital controls, which limit the amount of money that can be transferred in and out of country. As a result, many Chinese individuals and businesses turn to underground banking channels to move their money. Money going from Italy to China by legitimate methods were 5 billion euros in 2017, which went down to a mere 9 million euros in 2021. All this money moving through the underground bank. Another factor is high demand for foreign currency in China, particularly among wealthy individuals and companies looking to invest overseas. Underground banks often offer better exchange rates and faster transactions than the formal banking systems, making them an attractive option for these customers. China's underground money shops have their roots in these Asian Chinese states that issued on their own individual currencies, which required visiting traders to change their currency money on arrival and departure at exchange shops. So my question is, before moving on further discussions on tackling this issue, we all should focus on why these issues are arising and on whose context it is.
Speakers who wish to speak in this moderated caucus, please raise their placards. Italy, followed by India. Are there any more speakers? Followed by France, United Kingdom, USA, Japan, China, South Africa. Delegates who wish to speak?
We have one more slot.
Can you please repeat the one? Actually, we didn't hear you.
Delegates who wish to speak in this moderated caucus, please raise. We have Austria. Alright, we begin with Italy. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
So just a few days ago, our financial authorities found an illegal operation geared at covertly moving money to China from a front, an electronic shop in Florence, and the tax in Prato against payment of 2.5% of the amount transferred. After carrying out the investigation, our authorities arrested two people of Chinese origin for criminal conspiracy dedicated to the illegal exercise of financial and banking activities. A total of 13 people, all Chinese, are under investigation for a membership of a criminal organization, illegitimate exercise of financial and banking activities, and fraudulent evasion of tax payments. Our authorities seized over 1 million euros plus 75,000 euros in commissions relative to roughly 3 million in operations. So, what does the Chinese government plan to do to eradicate these underground banks and the Chinese millionaires who have found such evasive measures to flee taxes?
Are there any you wish to iterate POIs? Okay. Delegates who wish to ask Italy POIs, please raise your hand. Are there any POIs? Seeing none, we go back to India. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
So underground banking protects the informal banking system. Chinese funds transfer system, for example, were in evidence during the Tang Dynasty, which was from 618 to 907 AD. And that historical longevity alone makes the continued use of underground banking unsurprising. Underground banking is a rational choice for the transfer of money because it has the same structure and operational characteristics as formal banking sector. And talking about the Hawala process, globalization has created demand for a cheap mobile labor force. And there is often a cultural expectation for members of that labor force which will dispatch a proportion of their earnings to the families in their home country, which is passed from 1999. So in 2002, 80 billion US dollars were remitted through the formal banking sectors by workers from developing countries, which is standard 2003, constituting the second largest capital inflow to developing countries behind the direct investment, which is RATA 2003, allowing for unreported and informal remittance flows. The total remittance figure might be in the order of $200 billion per annum, which is under 2003. So although the total level of funds is significant, it usually comprises a large number of small transactions which the formal financial sector does not generally facilitate.
Thank you, Dalip.
Next, we have France. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
Underground banking is a major issue through which many illicit activities such as tax evasion, money laundering, and other financial crimes are rendered possible. Allegedly, China has one of the largest documented underground banking systems called Daigo Shopping, where high-value retail items such as watches, jewelry, or designer goods are purchased in European countries and then shipped to China to be resold. This system can be used to launder money and convert illegally obtained money into high-value goods. To counter these issues, we should work together and strengthen regulatory oversight. Governments and regulatory authorities should strengthen their oversight and regulatory framework for the financial sector to make it more difficult for underground banks to operate. We should increase our enforcement efforts. Law enforcement agencies around the world should increase their efforts to detect and investigate underground banking activities. This may include using surveillance techniques, gathering intelligence, and conducting raids on underground banks. We should improve international cooperations. Underground banks often operate across borders, and international cooperation is essential to tackle them effectively. Government should work together to share information and coordinate their efforts to combat this problem. Overall, tackling underground banks requires a concerted effort from governments, financial institutions, and law enforcement agencies. It is a challenging task, but working together and implementing effective measures, it is possible to reduce the impact of these illegal activities.
Thank you, Delegate. Next up, we have United Kingdom. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
The informal value transfer system, so let's take a real life example. The Chinese government has policies and procedures which dictate how much capital is transferred out of the country, how much and even how it is spent. This restricts Chinese nationals from making significant withdrawals out of the country, except in instances where they are changing their main country of residence. There is originally a $50,000 annual limit for individuals to transfer out of China. Since 2017, Chinese bank calls can only be used to withdraw a maximum of $14,000 overseas. And during this time, the UK property investment has been eye-catching for the Chinese criminals. This creates a supply of funds, aka value, to return money to China, balancing the leisure, while providing a simple money laundering process too. In two particular cases, Santander Bank altered the authorities to suspicious cash deposits adding up to 57 million pound across more than 600 new accounts set up by students, while Barclays have found more than 14,000 compromised accounts. While only one country is making significant efforts to combat those, we are not seeing help or major changes done by the Chinese to combat the same. The question remains, how can we together combat this?
Thank you, Delegate. Next up, we have United States of America. You have the floor for 9 minutes.
The underground banks are often unregulated and operate outside of the traditional banking system. They allow for the illicit movement of money across borders, facilitating criminal activities such as money laundering, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and even terrorist financing. We believe that all nations must work together to combat this growing threat. We call on all member states to take the immediate action to address this issue. And I would like to highlight one incident that happened in majorly back to 2016. The Panama Papers were leaked, and in that the overall personalities, eminent personalities of all over the world who are having illicit activities, financial activities in tax haven countries. And from India there were citizens like Amitabh Bachchan and her daughter-in-law Aishwarya Bachchan, and also the elder brother of great industrialist Gautam Adani. And also how can China be last in the list? Also the relatives of the President Xi Jinping was also in the list, but they censored the media to cover that topic. So I think I want to ask whether you will be taking any actions on that. Will you be taking any measures against them? Thank you.
Alright, next up we have the delegate of Japan.
Before
You have
that,
a point?
6 seconds, no? Less than 10 seconds? No, and
So delegate of Japan, you have the floor for next.
So coming to how the member nations in this committee address to which countries and targeting is being done very honestly towards China. But we also need to discuss where this originated from. The underground bank system basically originated when Colombia and US wanted to trade items like trucks, helicopters and cigarettes between them. Now what this methodology has been known is black market peso exchange. This was established between US and Colombia and forwarded towards many other countries including Mexico and China later on. Now my question, if I may ask to US is directly, these people or these couriers which operate in your country and other nationals which operate in your nation, how are they able or how are they getting the permission to sell other countries' goods or buy your country's goods and sell them in other states at a very high profit margin? Is USA doing nothing to monitor all such activities?
alright. Do you should
Yeah, I take questions.
Alright, before that, I understand that you want to show your enthusiasm, but make sure that it is not interrupting the speaker. Alright? We'll take you, right?
Yes, delegates who wish to ask POI, please raise their placards. Okay, US, that's it, followed by France. We'll take 2 POI. US, you may ask your question.
Why is the honorable delegate of Japan referring to us like as if US has invented underground banking, or if it is a country policy to conduct underground banking? And I'm pretty sure all the relevant agencies have taken appropriate action against whoever were responsible for conducting the illegal trade with Colombia, as you were referring to. Yeah. Now coming to the question, Japan.
Can I continue, Mohit?
Yeah, my co-delegate.
So I think you should have been done more research. We have been taking measures against those who we have found for recently like Panama paper, sorry. we have sent some criminals to prison also. So that's not the part that. So how can you put that allegation to us?
The question in short is, how are you alleging that US is responsible for it?
In the last CCPCJ meeting, US had basically refuted the claims of having underground banks in their own system. But last in 2020, NCA had arrested a US national for allegedly laundering of criminal cash through so-called shopping, where high-value items such as watches, jewelry, and design goods are purchased in the US and then shipped to other countries to be sold under the higher profit margin. What about that?
Alright, thank you. No follow-up.
Next up, France.
I would like to ask for the source of information for these allegations.
I'll mention it in the chat or
Why should the
Why should you go?
okay, I'll mention the chat.
We are delegates here, and we are coming up with our own sources, our own. We are not kids, right? So when we are discussing issues, we have. Yeah, I will give you the source, but we are delegates and we are responsible enough to have credible sources, and this is an issue facing worldwide. I would not be.
to do my own research on this topic.
Okay,
It's
I will send
complete.
it. I will send you that source. Bye.
Next, we have China. We have
You can go last. There's a technical problem.
There's a technical issue.
So, no, we will not be shifting. We have one more space open in case nobody is raising their backup, then you are free to do it. We don't want to take any.
Sorry?
Kuch nahi hoga. Alright, that's it then. If you are not able to speak, then that's it. End of.
you're speaking.
No, we have actually fulfilled 10 speeches, so we can't take it.
Yeah.
First of all the allegations mentioned towards China was for Chinese individuals and not for Chinese government. Secondly, a clap never makes sound with one hand. If the illegal activities or illegal activities are taking place, it is taking place in the Western countries, for which the Western countries have done nothing. Secondly, China is taking extra jurisdictional powers and responsibility into hands and trying to curb it, while on January 2019, it has brought a new e-commerce law, which is the first of its kind, to actually ban those daily activities, individuals who are involved in that transaction with a fine of 2 million yuan or 5 lakh yuan respectively, according to the levels of crime. So if all these things China is doing even after sitting in China for other countries, that is China being efficient. But those countries living there doing nothing is being useless. Nothing more than that. China is taking extra powers to curb something which is not even happening in our country. Those are Chinese individuals, never ever connected directly to the Chinese government. Hence, these allegations against the Chinese government should not take place in this committee, because all those underground transactions and illegal activities happening are by individuals for which Chinese government is taking appropriate measures, and also demand certain measures to be taken by those Western countries. For example, United Kingdom itself hasn't illegalized illegal activities till now. So if that is taking place, if it is giving a chance to people to misuse the loopholes, it is the fault of that system which is prevailing in the country, not the fault of China. Hence, just alleging China for underground banking is baseless. First, measures have to be taken in the respective countries. Thank you.
Can we reply? He has addressed many countries, so can we give reply?
You can choose to have an extension motion on this moderate purpose and address a reply from them.
Can I have a point of
Point
information?
of
Can I?
information.
They don't have time to make a point of motion, so they
So we move forward. Next we have South Africa. You have the floor for 9 minutes.
First and foremost, underground banking.
Alright, before that, we are still in a moderate purpose, we are still in a formal session. So sorry for the interruption, please continue.
Underground banking, as we all know, is a generic term used to describe any informal banking arrangements which run parallel to, but generally independent of, the formal banking system. Underground banking systems are also referred to as an alternative remittance systems, as mentioned by FATF in 1999, informal funds transfer system in World Bank and IMF 2003, and informal value systems in FinCEN 2003. Particular types of underground banking systems are also used to describe underground banking processes. For example, as the delegates mentioned, Hawala, Hundi, Fieshen, by the Pesas in 1999. Underground banking takes place in many parts of the world, ranging from Hong Kong to Nepal. The combination of geographical diversity and varied typology of underground banking systems make them attractive for illegal activities and difficult for regulators to control. Some of the
Some of the regulatory solutions on this could be licensing or registration with a designated competent authority, such as financial intelligence units or financial sector regulatory bodies of persons that provide underground banking, carrying out background checks on the operators, owners, directors, and shareholders of underground banking systems, identifying underground banking systems by examining the full range of utilized media to detect advertisements and informing operators of their registration and licensing obligations, and making law enforcement agencies aware of the compliance requirement for underground banking services and of methods by which illegal use of those services is achieved.
Points well heard, delegate. Next we have the delegate of Austria. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
Since underground banking is not a new phenomenon, if Austria has seen for underground banking activities like the delegates mentioned about the Chinese-US interference, this can damage the country's reputation and reduce its attractiveness as a place to do business. Since Austria has been a neutral country, it will not only reduce the country's reputation, but also the underground banks which operates in the shadow, the transactions are oftenly unreported. So this lack of transparency can lead to difficulties in our financial flows and facilitate illicit activities such as money laundering or terrorist financing. So the existence of unregulated financial institution can determine the confidence in the official banking system, which can harm efforts to promote financial inclusion and encourage the use of electronic payment modes and cashless economy. So Austria has enacted laws to regulate the financial sector and prevent the operation of unlicensed financial institutions. We work closely with other countries to combat money laundering and the financing of terrorism. The country has signed agreements with other countries to exchange information and cooperate in investigations related to such scams, and also launch some public awareness campaign to educate citizens about the risk associated with underground banks and the importance of using licensed financial institutions.
Alright, thank you, delegate. Are there any extension motions on the floor? China, followed by US.
With the prior permission of the executive board, the delegate of China would like to extend the moderated caucus to 3 speakers. First speaker time 90 seconds, total speaking time.
First speaker time will still be the remaining. Just tell us about the number of speakers.
3 speakers.
Alright.
Delegate of US would like to extend the committee for the 5 speakers.
Any other extension motion? We'll vote on 5 speakers first. Yeah.
So first we vote upon the motion raised by USA. So delegates in favor of the motion, please raise their placards. Yeah, for the 5 speakers. Delegates against the motion. So the motion fails. Next we have the motion raised by delegate of China. Those who are in favor of the motion,
The extension of 3 speakers.
yeah, extension of 3 speakers. Okay. Against the motion? Alright, so this motion passes and we have extended the motion for 3 speakers. Moderate caucus on the topic tackling underground banks all over the world for 3 speakers. So delegates who wish to speak, please raise their placards.
Quickly. Followed by China, followed by US. Alright, delegate of 3 number 2.
The delegate of China previously mentioned that they had introduced a law in 2019 to combat underground banking originating in their country. Then how is it that our country Italy recovered another operation just a few days ago? Does the Chinese government not implement their laws strictly, or are the Chinese citizens not obedient enough? And we'd also like to mention the measures that we've taken as a country And we'd also like other countries to, support us and to eradicate the underground banking. Italy believes that international cooperation is crucial. We as a country should work together to develop a coordinated approach to identify, monitor and regulate these banks. This could include the sharing of information, intelligence and best practices among member states. Additionally, legal frameworks must be strengthened to provide for harsher penalties and sanctions for those involved in underground banking activities. Furthermore, it suggests that a comprehensive strategy be required to address the root causes of underground banking. That is it. All right. You have 14 seconds remaining. How do you feel? You are. We'll take 2 POIs on that. Where is the sheet of?
China. Delegates who wish to ask POIs.
We'll take China.
Okay. China, let me ask you a question.
The delegate of Italy mentioned that aren't the rules made by China efficient enough. First of all, they are extraterritorial, which means it depends upon the Italian government also. And as it was mentioned about the obedience of Chinese citizens, those Chinese citizens are in Italy. So isn't the Italian government highly inefficient to manage those underground activities? If China has already taken extraterritorial rules into consideration, why doesn't Italy also bring some measures to control that underground banking? Why the blame directly to China? Those people are in Italy, not in China.
That is why we mentioned the measures that should be taken by all the countries together. And we are not explicitly blaming China. We're asking for global cooperation. Any other POI? All right, then ask to follow. No other POI.
Need to follow. The delegate just mentioned measures that should be taken. So first of all, the world hasn't taken any measure on this underground banking, and it is only China which has done it. So the question is that when, how will come that measures from the sophisticated term of global cooperation? When will that come? Because if it won't come, this direct blame would still be on China. China has already done it back in 2019, but the Western countries are still inefficient to do it. So when will it come?
Or you may choose to answer Varachal.
Alright. Next we have China. You have the proper answer.
Talking about underground banking system, first of all, these systems aren't illegal, they are unethical. And there is difference between being unethical and illegal. If the system has loopholes or is easily able to be exploited, then the persons involved in those activities are said to be unethical and not illegal. Hence, the system needs first to be developed in their respective countries. If there is a system in a country where underground banking can easily take place, then that government is efficient. Hence, China strongly believes that first those loopholes have to be covered up in respective countries so that underground banking can be removed.
Secondly, many of the delegates mentioned so many things about China in their speeches. First of all, Italy. Italy mentioned so many things about how they're trying to regulate Chinese citizens or people of Chinese origins in their country. Delegate, you're so focused about China. What are you doing to regulate the mafioso connections and the trade relations? The underground trade relations between New York and Sicily, Italy. Secondly, France, I would like to ask you a source. UK. First of all, we don't recognize dollars. Please talk about in yuans. Second, you talk about how China has been taking so long to fight against this so-called underground banking. It takes time. Would the delegate of UK like to comment about how they have been fighting racism since such a long time, but they still haven't found any solutions to it? Secondly, problems and solutions. Last, USA is the #1 destination for human and drug trafficking. Humans, persons, people, and drugs from Colombia, Mexico, and various different cartels have set up stations in the USA, and this is a proven fact. That's all. Thank you so much.
Point of parliamentary inquiry. Are the delegates allowed to talk while a delegate is speaking?
Yeah, so they are not, and that is being considered as indecorum.
Thank you so much.
Next point. So they don't have any time remaining for a POI.
So before I, no sir.
Do you have any point?
No, next speaker.
All right. So next up we have USA. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
Yes, before that,
One has forged our check from India to France, but we haven't returned. Someone has done forgery.
this trip is not written by you.
It says from India to France, but
Okay, alright. No problem. I've changed the country name as well. Good. I think we need.
We got a check from India asking about Israel. We were actually very confused.
Yeah, that's what it travel as well. How it is I'll do one more thing. I will mark you again once you reply to that. To the understand that it's from Israel and not from India.
Alright.
Thankfully, it got resolved. So, thanks Israel for your cooperation in quick resolution of this issue. Delegate of USA, you have the floor.
So firstly, the before I start, honorable delegate of China mentioned that he quote unquote doesn't recognize dollars. So I would just like to ask, why does China hold $1 trillion of US bonds? Why don't China just sell them? And why does China still do trade in dollars with majority of its countries? Now coming to the point, thousands of Chinese traders who sell counterfeit items in the infamous fake markets of China. These include clothing, electronic gadgets, and not only this, they commit property theft, intellectual property theft by stealing patents, copyrights, trademarks, and the technology itself. Now, not only this, while this is happening under the government's nose, they also export it to other markets, flooding markets like India with fake Chinese items of US branded products. Now, before the delegate tries to defend itself by saying that these are individuals and not government policy, let me just remind that China had a government policy of reverse engineering military items from Soviet Union and US in the 1900s, and it's continuing even now by looking at the number of hacking attempts by China on US servers and our military bases. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. How would I have to yield your time to restrict POI?
Japan.
So you cannot yield to another delegate in the moderate caucus?
I yield to POI.
Alright, so we'll take 2 POIs on that speech. Delegate to ask me the placards.
We have China.
Alright.
Take 1 POI. China, you may ask your question.
The delegate of USA mentioned about other branded goods being imported to China and then exported outwards. What is the source of origin of these products? Aren't they the Western countries? Then why doesn't the Western countries first come underground banking and market? Because if that would be done, no further export would happen in that situation. Counterfeiting is done from Western countries to China and then from China to other countries. So why doesn't first the origin is blocked by the Western countries?
So Western countries produce the original goods. Meanwhile, China has an entire industry of just copying the technology. For example, let's say iPhone, you will find tens of companies selling the same iPhone in China under a different brand name because of they have factories producing the same products but with different labels. That is exactly what counterfeiting means.
Point,
$4.
Baja. Thank you.
Other
No, we can't. Yeah. Alright. So let's just go back to the GSL. Before that, could the delegate of UP please approach the dais?
Try to
Do that on what time? point?
Right to reply.
Right of reply.
Yeah.
On?
USA speech. It was derogatory for the sovereignty of the country of
Okay,
China.
could you quote unquote?
USA, delegate of USA mentioned words such as copying, faking, business applications, special reference to iPhone. That is not correct. It is said in business deriving, because although it is same in nature, but it is not same. China is not copying, it is called derivation. Hence USA first needs to learn business.
Okay, alright. Differentiation in terminology and how you approach things is completely an factual differences that is there. We as chairs don't see any sort of right of reply occurring out of it because we don't see how this sovereignty or anything of that sort has been hurt by this statement. Alright? Which we take into consideration. We are moving. Thank you. Okay. So 1:30 is your lunch. So there's that. We'll go back to the GSR and we'll take some GSR speeches. Post that, how do you wish to proceed? Do you wish to take time for your DRs? Or I think most of you have perhaps drafted, but even if you haven't, you would want to take time for DRs. Alright. And okay, take this time to discuss amongst yourself as well how you would want to approach this. So with reference to draft resolutions, right? So we have this entire process of amendments to a draft resolution as well. You introduce a motion for amendments, and then there's addition, deletion, modification. All of these things happen for a draft resolution. So suppose there are certain clauses of a draft resolution that you don't agree with, you will submit your proposals to add something to the draft resolution, submit your proposals to delete particular things or to modify certain things. Alright? So in that case, those amendments come out to us. We will read out those amendments, whose amendment it is, what is it changing. All those things will be read out. Thankfully we have a projector, so we can do those on a projector as well. And then that amendment is voted upon in the committee. So again, a simple majority, if a simple majority is there for that amendment to pass, that amendment comes into effect. Now, a draft resolution, if more than half of it has been changed, then the draft resolution is scrapped. Why? Because it's no longer original to what it was. So one decideful, not exactly decideful, but tactful way of failing a particular draft resolution is by simply amending it so much that it's no longer what it originally was. So that way it doesn't go to voting, it simply gets scrapped because it's no longer the original draft resolution. What the drafters in this situation can do is introduce a new amended draft resolution and then go through the entire process of amendments again on those. That's on amendments. You can also choose to skip that process, but it is my duty to explain to you what amendments are. If we do have the time to go through, go through this exercise of amendments, then we will definitely incorporate that. Now, I do think that there will be multiple resolutions coming in perhaps, in which case it's important for us to also go through the resolutions that are being introduced by every country, right? So, so how it works is that there will be a motion for introduction. It will get passed, or we can directly actually start passing resolutions since all of you are involved in drafting, because individual drafting, and we do not want to sort of have any resolutions not getting introduced because of voting issues, right? So we will do one thing, we'll pass all the resolutions, put them on table at least, all the draft resolutions. You'll get the time to go through them. They'll be available to you on WhatsApp, ideally. So once that motion is in order to introduce a draft resolution, you put it on WhatsApp for everybody else to see. We'll take some time to read those draft resolutions. After that, you can choose to have motions to discuss that particular resolution. So how it works is, suppose if I were a delegate and I introduce a resolution called 1.0, then I would have a motion to have a moderate caucus to discuss resolution 1.0, right? Then all those in favor would vote in favor, against. Suppose it passes, then we'll be in a moderate caucus, say 5 minutes or something of that sort, to discuss that particular resolution. In which case, member nations can either choose to support, to choose to disagree, agree with some parts, disagree with some parts, so on and so forth. So that is one way. So if we have multiple resolutions, we will also have a moderate caucus combined for all those resolutions. That is also something you can do. There are multiple ways for you to approach them. I'm just brainstorming and I'm just giving you some ways of how you can discuss your draft resolution, because debating and discussing on it is incredibly important. Okay? Alright, so after certain discussions done, we can also have a debate, we can also have a Q&A of sorts, wherein the drafters address questions from the rest of the countries, delegations that are present, and then answer those questions. Alright, on a particular draft resolution. In which case your draft resolution will be up here, then we'll be going through all of those clauses which have questions. It's good for you to number those clauses, because then you can ask pointed questions, you can give us pointed references as well. So do number your clauses. Alright. After all of this is over, we'll go into voting. How voting happens is, okay, we'll do that later on. But this is on discussion of draft resolutions and on you making those draft resolutions. I do think some of you have not yet made those, so you would require time to make those as well. Right? Alright. Okay. Before we go back to the GSL, we'll do one thing. We'll take some motions to see what exactly is the committee moving towards in terms of what do they want to do. Like, do you want to have an unvote for your drafting, or do you want to continue with speeches? Either way is obviously okay with us. Committee consensus as always.
Are there any motions on the floor? We have China, followed by India, and followed by US. China.
With the prior permission of the executive board, the delegate of China would like to suspend formal debate and revert back to the general speaker.
Okay, no need for motion for that. The moment all the motions fail, we anyway go back to the GSL.
Alright. Next up, India.
The delegates of India would like to propose an unmoderated caucus of 10 minutes.
Unmoderated of 10 minutes.
And USA?
I'd like to suspend formal debate and enter into moderated caucus on topic solutions of solving international financial crime for 15 minutes per speaker time, 90 seconds.
With yours?
With yours.
One more we can do.
We are entertaining one more motion. So delegates who wish to raise a motion, please raise their placards.
Alright.
Seeing none, we'll get back to the voting by India. Alright, delegates in favor of the motion raised by India,
Which is for an unmoderated caucus of 10 minutes.
please raise their placards.
We are now in voting.
Voting.
You're not allowed to influence votes. You're not allowed to talk amongst yourself while you're voting. Alright? Okay. So we are now voting on the motion raised by the delegate of India, which is for an unmoderated caucus of 10 minutes. All those in favor, please raise your placards. Alright. All those against?
So this motion failed. Next we have the motion raised by the delegate of USA.
Which is for a moderate caucus on the topic solutions of solving international financial crime for a time period of 15 minutes, first period and 90 seconds with POIs. All those in favor, please raise your placards. All those against? Alright, this motion passes. The delegate of US would you like to be the first speaker and would you like to speak?
So delegates who wish to speak in this particular moderated caucus, please raise their placard. We have India. Followed by China. Followed by France, UK, followed by Japan, followed by USA, followed by Austria, and followed by Italy, and South Africa.
You can take one more speaker.
Delegates who wish to speak in this moderated caucus.
He's the last speaker for this moderated caucus.
Yes. Israel. Alright. We start with India. You have the floor for 90 seconds. Delegate of India.
Left to right, that is our.
You cannot do that.
We have to speak.
Yes.
So before going to deal with the prevention of financial crime, let us first know what exactly financial crime means. So who do you picture when you imagine a criminal or a victim? Do you imagine someone attacking you on the street? What if you came to know that the criminal isn't a stranger but is known to you? While the person does not take money by force or through violence but still steals from you. The financial crime has been a pivotal issue all over the world for several decades now. Authorities are constantly looking for ways to tackle financial crime, and as criminals are always ready with new innovative tactics to stay ahead of the game. If you are working in a finance or business sector, if we are working in this sector, it is critical that you understand what financial crime is and how it works. So these crimes are occurring in different forms and crime happening all over the world. So we might think that what could be the example of such crime? Some of the most common crimes which are done in the financial sector is okay. Some of the most crimes which the financial sector is facing are money laundering, terrorist financing, financial fraud, tax evasion, counterfeiting currency, identity theft, and many more. Such types of crimes are committed every day, and the government all across the country, all over the world, not only India, all over the world are constantly working to prevent it.
Alright, we move on to the next speaker, the delegate of China. You have the floor for 90 seconds.
The delegation of the People's Republic of China encourages all member states to implement effective measures to prevent and combat financial crimes in a cashless economy, taking into account the specific risks and challenges associated with digital payment systems. Strengthen their legal framework to ensure that they are in line with the FATF recommendations and other relevant international standards, and that they provide for effective criminal and non-criminal sanctions against financial crimes. To promote international cooperation and information sharing law enforcement agencies and other relevant authorities to prevent and investigate financial crimes, including the use of mutual legal assistance, extradition, and other forms of cooperation. Encourage the private sector to enhance their due diligence measures and customer identification procedures to prevent and detect financial crimes, and to report suspicious transactions to the appropriate authorities. Provide technical assistance and capacity building support to developing countries, particularly those with limited resources and capabilities, to strengthen their ability to prevent and combat financial crimes in a cashless economy. Enhance public awareness and education on the risks of financial crimes and the importance of effective prevention and detection measures in a cashless economy. And it requests the Secretary General to report on the implementation of this resolution to the General Assembly within 2 years of its adoption.
Alright, okay. Are there,
Do you wish to yield to POI?
Yes.
We'll take one POI on this.
okay, Japan. Ask your question.
So China, the Silk Road trade route between China and Western countries cater demand for brokers at both ends of the major trade routes to settle each other's debt, neglecting the need for paper trail currency to travel at all. All this money has been traced back to the world's fourth largest bank, that is the Bank of China, run by CCP. So how are you trying to basically find solutions to this? Because you are basically creating a need for currency for the brokers to basically encompass a currency that doesn't have a paper trail. And you are saying that you want to have that same.
Yeah, as the delegate of China mentioned in this moderated caucus, we are not implementing this right now. We're suggesting solutions. We are looking forward to suggestions. We are looking forward to solutions. This is why this committee has come together. Given about the Silk Road also has various what do you call it? The Silk Road also has various connections to the drug cartels, Colombian and Mexican drug cartels. So I don't see them being dragged into this except for China, and that's all the delegate has to say.
On what point?
Point of information.
You may ask why actually. So next we have the delegate of France.
Can we follow up?
No. The delegate of France, you have the floor for 90 seconds.
We have almost discussed all the problems related to financial crimes and their root causes. Some solutions that the delegate of France would like to suggest include anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism funding systems more successful and more efficient, such as making sure that legislative and regulatory frameworks are current and appropriate for cashless society, encouraging the use of cutting-edge technologies and methods such as artificial intelligence and machine learning to identify, look into, and stop financial crime, making sure that private sectors implement effective internal controls and compliance programs to prevent and detect financial crime, including by providing training and awareness-raising programs for their employees, and making sure that the FATF continues to develop and update international standards and guidelines related to combating financial crime in the cashless economy, taking into account new and emerging risks and threats, providing technical assistance and capacity building support to member states, particularly those with limited resources, to strengthen their anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing regimes.
Alright, delegate, would you like to entertain POI? The next one is United Kingdom. You have the floor for 9 minutes.
The respected members of the chair and my fellow delegates, I would like to point out a few things which can act as a solution to the current problem. Digital economy can increase transparency. The digital technology such as blockchain can help in increasing transparency in financial transactions, making it easier to track and trace money flows. This can make it more difficult for criminals to hide their illegal activities and can deter them from engaging in criminal behavior. Enhanced surveillance. The use of digital technology such as CCTV cameras and facial recognition software can improve surveillance and deter potential criminals from committing crime. This can also help law enforcement to identify and apprehend criminals more quickly. Improved cybersecurity. Digital technologies can be used to improve cybersecurity, making it more difficult for criminals to hack into computer systems and steal sensitive details. This can help prevent cybercrime, which is a growing problem of digital age. Increase employment opportunities. Digital economy can create new employment opportunities for people, which can reduce the likelihood of engaging them in criminal activities, of desperation of financial needs. Improve education and awareness. Digital technology can be used to improve education and awareness about crime and consequences. This can also help reduce incidences of crimes by encouraging people to make better choices and understanding the consequences of their actions. I would like to conclude my.
Thank you, delegate. Next, we have the delegate of Japan. You have the floor for 9 minutes.
Illicit financial flows possess a range of cross-border economic and financial activities by private and official entities and individuals that are either already illegal under given national and international regulations and laws, or considered illicit in the sense of constituting a systematic abuse of such regulations that would call for prompt adjustment of these relevant authorities. A common identifier of illicit financial flows is the persistent use of financial secrecy jurisdiction to hide origins and destinations of such financial flows from public scrutiny.
Now, when we come to discuss solutions to prevent financial crimes, we, Japan, would like to call all member nations to come forward and allow their top investigation organizations to seize assets and confiscate assets in a situation of international crime. We, all member nations, being the part of the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime, a treaty aimed on addressing computer-related crimes and establishing international cooperation to combat them. For example, if we take a Belgian national, Nirav Modi, who was able to fraud a bank in India, upon caught, he was able to flee to the US and then to the UK where he was detained. All this while the ED in India was busy sending letter of request to other countries instead of being able to go there and catch him. So today Japan would request all member nations to come forward and extend a helping hand to all criminal agencies in all countries, irrespective of our political differences. Thank you.
Next, we have the delegate of USA. You have the floor for 9 minutes.
So the delegate of US believes that there is one important issue which hasn't been discussed yet in the committee. This is China's providing huge amounts of loans to financially struggling countries at unfavorable conditions. That they know the countries are on the verge of default, and upon default they take over the national assets and even convert them and use them for military purposes. For example, China gave huge amounts of money as loan to Sri Lanka, which had very little money remaining in their forex reserves. Upon when Sri Lanka was unable to pay the loan back, they took over a port of Sri Lanka for 99 years on lease, and now we even use it for military purposes like docking the spy ship, which acts as a threat to our allies in the region like India. So for this, as a solution to this, the role of financial institutions.
Then don't shoot yourself in the foot. Perhaps not agree to that is what I mean. But as a committee, it is always encouraged that we as a committee, considering the committee that we are in, have a consensus on a resolution that we are passing, right? So even if there are two authors to that, we can still look at your contribution in the format of the points that are coming in the draft resolution, right? Alright, that's it. You're now and I'm not. Sorry for the interruption.
Are the authors of the draft resolution going to get an opportunity to present their draft resolution?
Yes. Alright, any other questions?
Guys, thank you so much. Very good evening to everyone. I would like to start this closing ceremony with one of the quotes which is my favorite, and I have written it as well. Everything ends. It has to. But we need not despair. Eventually, something new comes along. Something better. A new beginning is as inevitable as the end preceding it. Today, we saw the ending of two most expressive things. The first was the Battle of Model United Nations, which was fought on the grounds of SIS Graduate School of Technology. And let me say, this was a battle which was fought and will be remembered by all the OCs, the coordinators, and we, the heads as well. But warriors like Arjun needs a charioteer like Krishna. And in this battle, the role of Krishna was played by our EVs. All the planning, the preparation, and the execution wouldn't have been such success without the hard work and the determination of our organizing committee. The second most expressive thing which ended today was our tenure as heads, as coordinators of the literary team of SIS Graduate School of Technology. This year started with Baatcheet Season 3, Rangmanch, Story Behind the Entertainment, a platform where our college students get an opportunity to interview people from the film industry. Then we celebrated our flagship event, the Literary Festival of Performing Arts, a 3-day fiesta of literature which began with fearlessly fought debate competition and Alphas, a poetry competition where poets from our very own college recited their wonder words and won all our hearts. Then we introduced our college students to two foreign languages, German and Japanese. As a team loves to connect with the current trends, then how could we have forgotten memes? So, one of our most successful event, Meme Mania, a meme presentation competition on Instagram. Now, we complete the circle by this closing ceremony of Model United Nations 2023. Now, the most important person over here isn't the OCs, the event heads, the participants, I'm so sorry, or us. It's our guiding light, Dr. Smita Kumar ma'am. Thank you so much. Now, let's start with the prize distribution ceremony, as we all are waiting for that. I would request Smita ma'am to please come on stage, along with our secretary, Sakshi Gst. I would request the EBs of UNSF to come up first. So, the high commendation of UNSC goes to So a slight change. We'll start with a special mention, and these mentions would be done by our EDs themselves. So I would request our chairperson, vice chairperson to please come.
In no particular order, the special mention for the UNSC committee is, I'll take the names of the country. Please stand up at your place. India. The delegate of the United States of America. And finally, the delegate of France.
Thank you very much. Please have a seat. A couple of thanks before I move on to the second stage of the audience. I would like to thank the entirety of the OC, specifically Manvi, who was the in charge for UNSC. Couple of people who will really stand out there all throughout, Suraj, Noor and Shreya. Before I go to high commendation and the best delegate, are there any guesses for high commendation? I know we have already done this exercise in the group. Any guesses for high commendation? It's my pleasure to hand over the High Commendation Award to the delegate of Switzerland. And for perhaps one of the most grueling competitions I have been a judge to, it's a conjoint understanding of both the entirety of the executive board we have. That the best delegate, like the difference between the best delegate and the high commendation was a whopping 15 marks. It is our collective pride to award the best delegate to the delegate of the United Kingdom.
Thank you.
It's time for a very own Indian committee. I would request our EVs of Indian committee to please come up.
So, it's been an honor for being the vice chairperson of the AI BPM. The committee was really good and the delegates were just superb. Their energy. It is good to see that we, as the youth of this nation, having so much political knowledge and stating so much laws in that committee and having a logical debate, though it went a little either but it is an Indian committee. So let's go with the prize announcement.
Right. So very good evening. So just before beginning with the awards, first of all, yes, I think we were the smallest committee, but I think the entire block experienced the energy and majority attended by first timers. I think this was certainly one of my best experiences where first timers came ahead and took away the gavel from the executive board and from the experienced. One of the most competitive committee I've ever chaired. So kudos to every single member. That was our drill before beginning the session and ending the session. So kudos to Just before coming to the awards, I would really like to thank the rapporteurs, Shreyoshi Roy, Nirchana, for having keeping up with us all throughout. Thank you so much. For having the entire committee, all the speeches timed so well. And certainly we cannot, I'm certainly in debt of Ritika for being the committee in charge. So coming to the awards. So we have one special mention award, 2 high commendations and 1 best delegate. Starting with the special mention award, we have someone for whom I think this committee was an absolute, if I may say, a complete greenhorn to this committee, but certainly, thrilled the entire committee with his speeches and with his, if I may say, humor. So it's none other. I would request the respected member to stand at their respected place. The former president of Congress Party, Rahul Gandhi. High commendation award. We have 2 high commendations in a particular order. Both the members were absolutely fierce and outperformed each other after every other committee session, and the difference between these 2 were 0.25. So a great, if I may say, congratulations to both of them. So High Com 2 is none other than our Union Law Minister Kiran Rijiju. Now coming to High Commendation 1, this member was someone who defended the entire government
for the 2 days. From the first speech to the last speech, he was as fierce, he was as strong, and I'll not say extreme, but as stubborn as he could have been. And this is something which is expected in the Indian committees, to follow the party acumen and to follow the political ideology. None other than Anurag Singh Thakur. And now coming down to the final Best Delegate Award. Kamal, I think all of you should give a huge round of applause. The most controversial, the most vocal.
Now last but not the least, our double delegate committee, Sies Gst, I would like to invite both the questions.
Alright. Hi, greetings delegates. We meet once again. It was a great pleasure to, of course, physically see all of you all and have this conference coming in. It's always a pleasure to return to SIES. I've been doing this for 2 years and this is my 3rd year in a row. And I'll always say it's a pleasure to be here. The OC is incredible and I'm so thankful to each of you for listening to each and every one of our requests and for also a great and smooth conference. I could not thank, of course, my vice chairperson as well as the OC members who were in my room. No specifically because I remember his name, but I'm so sorry. And by the name, both of our rapporteurs, they were incredible, noting down every verbatim to the best of their capabilities. For giving the Wi-Fi, thank you so much. We couldn't have functioned without you. And all of the logistics, we had a very high number of chips happening. All of these things were, happening so smoothly, and it could not have been possible without the conference, without the organization committee. Coming to the delegates, I think they were such an incredible bunch. I see such great potential in each and every one of them. This was one of the committees wherein I think the participation level was so high. I mean, all of you all spoke multiple times, and I really liked that. Great amount of engagement, interactions, and I can tell you that it's fully upwards for all of you all. So kudos on participating and participating so well. So I will be announcing the verbal mention and the special mention. Will please stand up in your positions. The verbal mention goes to the delegation of United Kingdom. And the special mention goes to the delegation of India. Thank you so much, Trustee.
experience this, and it was such an amazing experience. I learned so much and I enjoyed throughout the process, and this was all because I had an amazing chairperson, Mr. Trustee, very wise and very beautiful Trustee. Thank you to her, and a big thank you to our OC members, and most specifically. For giving us Wi-Fi all the time. Coming to the delegates, all the delegates were so participative and they were so interactive throughout the session, and that made us very difficult to announce the results, especially on the day 2, because all of you all were so fantastic. So I'll be announcing the high commendation. So the high commendation goes to the delegate of China. And the best delegate. Any guesses for the best delegate? Okay, and the best delegate goes to the delegate of France.
Just wait. I would request the EVs to wait because MUN is nothing but drama. There is 2 special more efforts because this committee was so fierce. We have 1 more high commendation and 1 more best delegate.
Okay, so now any guesses for the high commendation once again? Okay, so the high commendation goes to the delegate of Japan.
Next,
Best delegate. Alright. So the best delegate, of course, it's a shared award. The best delegate goes to the delegation of United States of America.
Hello everyone. अभी कुरुक्षेत्र का युद्ध तो अर्जुन ने जीत लिया, but कुछ कृष्णा के लिए नहीं बचा है. So I would request the EBs of UNSC to please come up here for the mementos. Now I would like to invite the Vice Chair of AIBPM Committee to please come up. Vice Chair, and last but never the least, our EBs of CBCJ. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. In this closing speech, I have thanked my MCs. I have thanked myself as a head. I have also thanked my coordinators and the guardian man. But the most important part of this event is you all, our dearest and fabulous participants. A big round of applause for yourselves. This MUN and we the LIT team won't be a success without you all. And thank you so very much. Now, for the last speech, I would like to invite our secretary, Sies Gst.
Thank you, Nama. A very warm welcome to everyone present here. Council in charge ma'am, members of the executive board, delegates, and the members of the organizing committee. Witnessing the last 2 days has once again proven why we need initiatives like the Model United Nations. The exchange of ideas, the bringing together of various mindsets, and the mature way of accepting that we can be inclusive even when we are a diverse society. Sies Gst organized Model United Nations 2023 offline after 2 years. We didn't let pandemic affect us. We continued the iterations of MUL online as well. And this being the last and the biggest highlight event of our literary team, I am proud to say we have come back bigger and stronger than ever and paved the way for our future generations. I would like to thank our council in charge, Dr. Smita Kumar ma'am, for constantly being the pillar of strength and support for our event and our entire team the entire year. This couldn't have been possible without your guidance. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank the members of our executive board who contributed their valuable time and encouraged and imparted their wise words and knowledge to our delegates. Thank you so much once again for making our event a grand success. It wouldn't have been possible without you all. To all the winners, congratulations and well done. And to all the delegates, you have been an amazing audience. Each one of you has put a lot of efforts and time into this, and I am sure you have gained and learned a lot from this experience. All the very best for our future MUNs as well. Thank you to the members of the organizing committee for handling the event in the best possible way. We all did it together with a bang, so clap for us.
of my speech, I, Sies Gst, Secretary General, declare Sies Gst's 9th iteration of Model United Nations 2023 closed. And this is your literary secretary for this year signing off. Over to you, my dear God. Thank you very
So the event has ended, so is our tenure. But the most important aspect of any event is money. So, I would like to thank our gracious sponsors before ending. So, our event sponsor for this whole MUN, I would like to thank the Indian Conclave. And now our second title sponsors for the whole year. I would like to thank Magnus Academy and last but not the least, Akshata Academy for providing us computer guidance in their lectures. Thank you so much. खत्म हो गया भाई, इजाजत